Ciao ragazzi, welcome to the Uncle Sharma channel. I'm glad I got that right. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with my mate, my buddy, in front of you guys, the fans, for us to have this venting space. And it's been a long time coming, but I think that both of our schedules in our mature sector of our lives have finally aligned to a point where we can now bring you a little bit of consistent communication a little bit more often. So it's an absolute pleasure to be here with my brother Uncle Sharma for the first edition of Two Up Top. How you doing, bro?
Good, man. Excited to get this going. As you said, yeah, hopefully we get this going regularly. And if you're wondering about the name, I guess, two up top, that's the formation that we play. It just makes sense. Two guys up top. The partnership, hopefully we flourish like Lautaro and Thuram. And I'm looking forward to get these going regularly, man.
Absolutely, bro. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Put it this way, like I said to you off air, I feel like I've never had so much to talk about with you without saying nothing at the same time. And we've got so much to get into that I really don't want to. Oh, someone says our voice has echoes. So let me just stay on top of that. Might just be for you though, man, because I've been hearing you fine for the time being.
Oh, okay. Can you let us know if it's like, is it coming after I speak or after Anthony speaks? Oh, Christian says it's fine on this part.
Mr. Potato, the favorite fan of the Sydney weather. I love it. I love it.
Oh, Ahmad says
I think it might just be you, Faze, my friend. But yeah, lots to talk about, bro. And I'll flick over to you to comments for a second. Topics for a second. But yeah, like I said, I feel like I've never had so much to say to you without having to say anything at all. So much has happened in this off season that we knew we expected the typical drama. We expected the typical Inter off season, but I guess deep down we were crying out for something to make us feel better, and it hasn't arrived yet. And that's the bottom feeling and the bottom line for me. We're still waiting for that one gift, that one knock at the door, that one sweet that says, "I apologize. I apologize indirectly for the way last season ended." I'm only going back this far because you and I haven't had that chance to link up as often. And, let's face it, everything is linked. Everything is tied together. The Lookman deal is a luxury deal. It would be an indirect apology / thank you to the fans, a gift. We're waiting for that gift, that feel-good moment where we can say, at least the management are serious. At least we are serious. At least we have something good to go off going forward. Maybe you're more optimistic than I am. You usually are. That's why we've created this great segment, this great show. But what's your round ball feeling before we jump into specifics?
No, 100%, bro. Like, yeah, I put it in the description of my post the other day. I said, the optimist and the jinx master combining for these regular shows. But I had a shit sleep. I said to Anthony before the show started, so I am cranky as well right now. So I'm definitely in the camp of not in general. After what happened last year, Anthony, it's crazy. Like, what other fan base has gone through the heartbreak that our fan base did last year? Like, losing every trophy on the line, getting embarrassed in the front of the whole world against another oil club. And in the summer, you're thinking there's going to be change. And it's not like just change for change's sake. You just felt like it was the right time to change things, refresh things. And by the looks of it, aside from Hakan at the CDM position against Torino, match day 1, Anthony, we're going to have the exact same starting lineup as we did in the Champions League final or pretty much throughout our last season. And that feels like, that doesn't feel right. It's you can say that we're like exaggerating or we'll be fine, but at some point, like, you got to move on. Like, you got to make decisions. You got to make cold-blooded decisions. You gotta, refresh things, rejuvenate. And I'm actually really, maybe this is the optimist part where I thought we were going to do much more than this, especially how the summer started. We started off with 4 signings pretty quick. I think already June we already had 4 signings. I was like, wow, if this is the start, wonder what we're going to cook in July and August. And July and August, Anthony had brought us a big fat nothing.
We went on hunger strike. Man. We decided we don't need to eat for a month.
Yeah, let me just give a quick shout out to the people in the chat. There's 26 people, so you guys know what to do. First of all, subscribe to this channel. and Anthony's channel, which is Inter Worldwide, which is linked in the description. And of course, support with a thumbs up and everything like that. Faiz salutes our Bahasa brother from Indonesia. Hope you are doing well. I think this time zone, this time that we picked, is the Asia market for sure, or the eastern side of the world. Zeki's loving how Anthony has been cooking Ausilio, so we'll get on to Ausilio as well, I'm sure, in a minute. Shama, why am I in Leicester, not in Navarra? If you haven't seen Anthony, I don't know if you were on Twitter when a player from the Atalanta youth team with the exact same name as mine.
Yeah, I remember I replied to Snadgers and I said that,
oh, yeah, you did.
I can't wait for us to agree a golden handshake with you for approximately 47 days or something like that. Great stuff. Congratulations to you, my friend.
I upgraded from Leicester to Navarra, but I come back, just to do these streams.
Oh, yeah. Then ironically, I said you'll probably end up going to a Premier League club, ironically back on loan to Leicester. So.
Yeah, that's how things work these days. The Premier League teams come in. Oh, Leicester boy in the house. El Gordo, what's up, brother? Morning, lads. Early birds. Yeah. If I'm going to link up with Anthony, I have to be, well, it's not even that early. It's just, earlier than usual. Zay Talks, your boys in the house, your brother. Zay Talks, good to see you. And of course, Aussie's in the house as well. Gab.
Come on.
Gab's always, he's full of ideas, and all his ideas this summer have been poo-pooed by the management. No incomings. Poor Gab. I feel sorry for Gab. He's a very optimistic Interista, but
I've seen him in person. You can see the optimism on his face. Like, he's a beautiful human being, but I just wanted to say, like, it's not gonna, most of what you want's not going to happen.
And big shout out to Otlo, who was one of the few unfortunate members of the embarrassment that we faced in Munich live in 4K, as he says. He deserves a gift 100%. Just Otlo himself deserves an Ademola Lukman, a big, gift wrapped superstar signing, right, Anthony? Just people like that.
I know an Aussie guy that went there as well, and I swear to God, man, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy to spend that much time and effort to go to a game and have to experience that. I would feel abused. It would be like, I don't even want to talk about it. I feel sorry for them.
Yeah. And of course, we got big Lord Figo, big pimp in the house. But anyway, let's get into it, Anthony. First topic that I want to cover with you is something that you've covered pretty strongly on your channel 2 days ago, which is on Ausilio. But I want to put the duo together because it's the dynamic duo usually, the mafia-looking duo of Marotta and Ausilio. Is their time over? Is it time to go for, well, definitely for Ausilio? I've said my piece as well that if the Saudi rumors are true, I think this is already overdue. I think time for Inter to get a new sporting director, fresh ideas. But Beppe Marotta looks like he's not going anywhere, Anthony. He's just purchased himself a 2% piece of the cake at Inter. We don't know whether this was how these corporate companies work. Sometimes you have stock options or whatever, like they're part of the package deal, or they're like some sort of, financial incentive for the directors at some level. But from what I understand, and he said it in his statement, that he would have had to invest, if that's 2% of Inter, some people estimated on Twitter, people with more financial understanding than me, that's probably around 20 million plus euros pumped into Inter, if that was his own money, if that was not gifted by Oaktree. So my question to you, Anthony, who you are very good at finding the threads behind what goes on in front of our eyes, or some people call it conspiracy theories, but I think most of the time you're right. What do you think is actually going on with Beppe Marotta buying 2% of Inter?
Beppe Marotta buying 2% of Inter. I wish I knew. So I try to be as honest as possible all the time. So I put the short up on my channel the other day, or it was the morning, whatever. I'm like, why? And I was even messaging you. I'm like, this makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. So if you go back as far as what we know and what Marotta has, led us to believe, he was always contracted until July 2027, if I'm not mistaken. And he has never strayed from the fact that this is going to be my last job at a Serie A club. This is going to be my last job in a sporting role. This is going to be my last job in a directing role. There is a chance I become corporatized and maybe I go up with the council or the FIGC eventually. But as far as my time as a director, as Beppe Marotta goes, this is it for me. This is the final curtain. Good for us. A couple of risky things in terms of Beppe Marotta leaving behind, messes to clean up, large contracts to clean up. That actually looks like a luxury that we are not going to have at Inter if and when he departs the club, because we look to have hit a massive stalemate in terms of doing business, but more so doing business in his way, in the past way, in the outdated way. And we are not the only victims of this, man. At the end of the day, like, Juve's market is getting absolutely fleeced, even worse than ours, but we're not here to discuss that. Beppe Marotta's way of doing things at Inter is finished. It's been finished ever since Oaktree took over, because that is the polar opposite of what a director like Beppe Marotta does. Under Zhang, under Suning, you've got that little bit of passion of where let's just make it work for the greater good of the club. Well, Beppe Marotta couldn't have a sweeter song in his ear than that. That gives him a license to cut every corner in the book to make everything work the way that he wants to do. And the way that he wants to do it is usually zero up front, pay over time via salary, or pay over time via installments to whoever it may be. And that way of doing things is gone. It's finished. It's definitely with Oaktree at the board. They're going, no, that's going to dig us into even more of a hole when you eventually decide to leave as well. So no, there will be no free transfers and inflated contracts. And to be honest with you, we're not keen to offer anybody an extension. And on top of that, whatever targets you think that you have, they will not be concrete unless you sell assets and fund it yourself. It's basically like pocket money now. As a child, if you do chores, you're going to get this, and that's where we're at the moment. Still, now we were led to believe something different. Like a few people in the comment, like one person in the comment is saying, do we really have a budget this summer? Well, we were led to believe that we had broken through a transfer hurdle in the last season, which I'm sure that we did to an extent. But at the end of the day, the hole that we dug ourselves in, the hole that Suning dug, is a very deep one to climb its way out of. And even if we're about halfway up financially now, we've still got a long way to go. And it doesn't look like a long way to go in terms of footballing terms. Like, there's probably at least a dozen big clubs in the world that share a similar amount of debt to us, or a similar like structure. Minus 500 million is not the worst thing in the world. They're about minus 550, 600 million. It's not the worst thing in the world. But when you're owned by Oaktree, it's everything. It's the liability. It's what you're trying to climb back from. And they're not going to give us favors, Zio. They're not going to give us handouts at all. We're not going to be dropping 45s on Lookmans, 50s on Lookmans, 40 on Kones. We're not, because it doesn't fit the model the same way it doesn't fit hiring age players with contracts up to 30 million over 4 years, which is what Joaquin Correa cost us. And that's just ridiculous, man. Arnautovic himself over the 2 seasons was drastically expensive. So I liked the 4 signings. I really, really did, because we started the market well. We're replacing Arnautovic and Correa with Boni and Esposito. But Boni was sort of in the works before Inzaghi left. So that's not a Kivu signing, in my opinion. The same way the same way I've said, I'm giving you a spoiler here. If I hear anyone in this management or board say the sentence or the quote that Pio Esposito is a new signing, or that he's in the list of signings, I will skits it, because that is just that's the worst thing to say. We're all happy that Esposito's here and we want him to get as many minutes as possible. But if I start hearing those sort of claims, it will really show me that you've got nothing. You really are surrendering defeat here, because you haven't given Christian Kivu anything. Sucic was signed before Inzaghi even thought about leaving the club.
Yeah.
And I think is it Boni, Sucic, Esposito, and
Luis Enrique.
Luis Enrique, of course, is probably the closest one to that list, but still a signing that we were rumored to make as Inzaghi transitioned in and out. So, and he's the one that still needs to prove a little bit more. I do think we've still got something left up our sleeves, Zio, because I don't know if we're going to get to the Zalewski thing and how it just reeks, but I don't know, man. Something has to give. And we've still got time. It's not like we're sitting here on deadline day, right? What date is it? Bro, we've still got 11 days left in the month. That's a long time in transfer market years terms.
That's the thing. Oh, yeah. For Inter, because I said if any of the Esposito brothers were going to be staying at Inter next season, I was going to eat a pineapple pizza. That was under Inzaghi, the terms and conditions. You didn't leave the little terms and conditions. That was under Inzaghi. So on the Q, that doesn't count. So I back out of that. But yeah, like in Italy in Serie A, all clubs, you'll see it. All clubs pretty much do all their business in like the end of the mercato, because that's when you get the best value for your money. Other Premier League teams are trying to get rid of their bums, or they're desperate to get rid of the ones that they're trying to get rid of. You'll see all the teams, but we thought the frustrating thing is that we thought, and going back to the question of the guy who was it, Zidane, who said, "Do we have 90 million to spend?" I don't know exactly how much we have money to spend, but I make those videos in the Excel sheet to show people that even without selling players this summer, we would have had money to spend, because we've had so much money savings from Arnautovic, Correa, like Anthony said. And then we had these extra savings from the new bond that we renegotiated, which was saved us like 10, 12 million euros every year just in interest, and increased revenues from last season, which you can't bank on to have every year. But again, that's a record year of revenues that you had. So whether that 80, 90, 100 million, some Italian reports have said, was there to spend, none of it has been really spent, actually. Because
and dude, you got to add Zalewski to that list now, 17 million. You got to add Stankovic to that list as well. You got to add whatever Aslani's peanuts are going to go for to that as well, man.
We keep going. It's turning out to be another plus green mercato rather than what we thought was going to be a big red mercato finally, which was funny because we thought, yeah, Inzaghi, if you stayed, you would have had more money to spend. But maybe then he was right. Then he was like, fuck this. I don't trust these guys. I'm out.
100%.
And yeah, Kivu at the moment, what I feared when we signed Kivu, Anthony, is turning out to be exactly the fears, is that he's been brought in as not a puppet. A puppet is kind of quite harsh. Or I've said Nima from the Italian Football podcast call him a mascot. I feel like that's all quite harsh on the guy. But essentially, the guy is not. He hasn't got the gravitas yet. He hasn't got the cojones really to probably put his balls on the table. I mean, Inzaghi never really had it anyway, but this guy, he's got even less experience. He's not going to push for any signings or make any demands, and it looks like he's going to just have to be happy, make it work with zero signings. And I think that's putting him in a bad position. I still think our squad is strong. Don't get me wrong, Anthony. And I'm sure you still think our squad is strong, but it's not giving him the push needed to get us the Scudetto again, or make a push deep in the Champions League again. That's the frustrating part.
For sure. If I said it before, if this team could show half as much fight for the Scudetto this season as they did for the Champions League last season, we could win the Scudetto by 12 points, mate. We really could, because on paper, that's still a very, very good team. But do I trust them mentally and psychologically to step up to that task? No, because they've shown me more often than not, they've shown you and I and all the other fans that unless everything is tailor-made and lined up for them, they can't deliver on the biggest stage, man. Because if they really could have, we wouldn't have bombed that first Scudetto under Inzaghi. We're all looking back at Inzaghi's era now as one Scudetto won, 3 dropped. Even if we had won that second one, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But that's why my vex with last season went way further than just losing the Champions League final and losing it 5-0. It was the borderline embarrassing and disrespectful way that the Campeonato was treated in the back end of last season. And you could smell it coming from a mile away. And I think that this season, if they were all able to just check themselves and realize that this team should have won the Scudetto last season by 9 points. I'm not even buying the fact that it was a close run with Napoli last season. We let Napoli get into a close run with us last season. If we really wanted to, and we really wanted to prioritize it, we would have been monkeys clear. Or we would at least have rectified a couple of disgusting results from February onwards that prevented us even getting in an advantageous position in the last few match days. To not be able to play from in front in the last 4 or 5 match days, unbelievable in our position. And you could see that when this team was made to chase and not look over their shoulder and defend, they buckled. And this season, it could happen again. I have no doubt we can start the season strong next season, because Kiev will know to tell them, all right, man, This ain't no Champions League winning season. And I hope he says that. I hope that nobody in that squad looks at each other and says we can win the Champions League this season, because that is what we would call in Australia a dumb C word. And we would mean it with everything in our body, and we would laugh about it because that's ridiculous. This team is built to get to the round of 16 in the Champions League, and that's it. That's it now. You had your chance. You had your run. You blew it in a way that I wish you didn't, because even leading up to the final last season, my brother, I said, you can lose this final and things will be okay. Things will be okay to everybody above management level. It's just a trophy, yeah? It's just fabric now. We've done what's needed to be done, unless you go out the way that we went out. And it's really disappointing, bro, to even sit here and still talk about it, because we could have even lost that by a goal less and things would have been fine. But we had to go that one step further, and that's why we talk about it the way we do now. So things will look grim psychologically going forward this season, because on top of exiting the way that we did last season, you know, in my opinion, the biggest high-level club bottle job since Bayer Leverkusen at the turn of the millennium, where Michael Ballack, I think, lost 4 out of 4. And I think that actually included a World Cup final, which, God, that's even worse. Poor guy. I wouldn't wish that on my enemies either. We go into this season now with a team that couldn't really face the off season properly, because we had, and I'm not going to go into who I blame the most. There was an entire period on my channel with the Lautaro Hakan thing, but Marotta, Hakan, Lautaro all need to accept at least a small amount of blame for the way that they've acted in the off season, and setting the tone for a chaotic off season behind the scenes that we are still repairing now. And you know what? Maybe if Christian Kiewel can drill into this talented group of players that all you need to do is work really, really hard, harder than you've ever worked before, and you will most likely get the results that you want, we might get off to a good start next season, and we might be able to narrow in on some objectives. But football is a fickle sport. It's a momentary sport. It's a temporary sport. And I fear the worst for Christian Kiewel. And even though I hate these guys more than anything in the world, I hate the team starting with Jay more than I hate the devil itself. But I feel sorry for Igor Tudor as well, because I feel like these two passion merchants are walking a really scapegoatic, disrespectful tightrope. That's my honest opinion, man. I feel sorry for them both.
Oh yeah. They're both just, they haven't got the big salaries. So as soon as, something goes wrong, it's easy to get rid of these guys and make them the scapegoats. And they're both club legends in some fashion.
And just the way they're putting it, and just the way that they're putting up with the lack of sales and lack of incoming of the market. It's like, this has all been agreed upon way before time.
Yeah. I mean, going back to the fan base, Anto. So I'm hearing different things. So Max here, he's going to be at the Torino game. So shouts out to him. So I was hearing throughout the last few weeks that the season ticket renewals weren't going very well. But yesterday I read that now it's sold out. So I don't know which one is the truth. Maybe I was believing the first one because I was also thinking that surely Interisti are not renewing the season tickets with what's going on, but I want to confirm it. But what do you think Interisti should be not boycotting, but showing their disregard or disdain towards the way this mercato has been handled with their money?
I don't actually know this. I don't do deep dives into this, but what big clubs in the world, Zio, actually don't sell out their season tickets, regardless of what scandal is going on? This is Inter we're talking about. When we want to be, we are the most decorated fan base in the country. When we want to be at home, that season that we won the second star, man, like we put on a show for the entire world throughout that season. We kicked everybody's ass, and we made sure to do it in a very colorful way. We have lapped opponents in Italy in terms of season tickets and in terms of home crowd records consistently over periods of time. What's up? But this season, you're still not going to get enough people to not renew their season tickets. It's Inter at the end of the day. It's different generations that have different levels of passion. It's kids, it's parents, it's elderly, it's middle-aged, it's friends going out to get drunk, it's friends going out not to get drunk, it's friends in general. It's It's Inter, bro. The same way Barcelona could finish 4th or 5th, they never won't sell out their season tickets. Manchester United will never sell out their season tickets. Instead, people will renew their season tickets and then sell them off. You know what I mean? Or give it away here and there. But big clubs, like, they always sell out their season tickets, man. We're gonna sell
so
them
what
out.
it sounds like from Ian here. So they have sold out, I guess, now, but it wasn't like it didn't go as quickly as it went last year, where everyone
100%
renewed straight away.
Yeah.
So I guess that shows a little difference. And if I remember quite clearly in my match previews last year, towards the end of the season, it wasn't like a sold out San Siro every time as well. There was starting to be a bit of a, like, second star season. It was, excitement. Everyone was like on it. But apart from the Champions League game, obviously the Champions League games are all like complete sold out. But the Serie A games, it was starting to get a little bit, stale, or the fan base wasn't quite convinced in the Serie A. So that excitement, I think, or lack of excitement, has carried into this season. Actually, Ian, this is a good question. Is the Curva Nord ban still ongoing? I actually don't know the answer to this question.
Good question for Ian.
Yeah, Ian can answer in the chat if you can, Ian, please.
Is that little ultras plug?
Yeah. Interclub Belfast, shout out Presidente. That made a big difference as well, right, Anthony? Like, you realize, as much as, like, different Interisti have different opinions on the Curva, and there's definitely a few individuals in the Curva that are very questionable people, but at the end of the day, they're the ones that bring the noise, the atmosphere. They carry the atmosphere. Without them, the stadium is nowhere near as hot.
100%, man. I never really voiced my opinion on it too much because I don't have an opinion on it. I'm from Southwest Sydney, man. I'm the furthest away from Inter than anybody on the planet that supports the club. I will never be able to understand what it's like to grow up into it, to be born into it, to be bred into it. All I can do is ever hope to go over there and experience it for myself. So, we support the club from afar. Whatever goes on in the intricacies, go on in the intricacies, man. But all we can hope is for less drama, because, there's no elephant in the room here. The Ultras have brought drama for Inter, for Milan. It's starting to become a very well-covered topic in the workings of the Ndrangheta, sorry. And, hopefully we can just hope for a drama-free season in that regard, because we need to focus on the football, my guy. The football is the most important thing. We need to systematically get this team wired, not tired, because, I don't think people are, I don't rate Conte's Napoli as good as people are putting them, and they're still there for the taking.
Yeah, definitely. And Ian confirms. So Curva Nord issue still ongoing. Same for Milan's Curva Sud. And it's the same thing as our Juve. So it's kind of this corporate way of dealing with the Curva. They're basically trying to get rid of the Curvas, especially with our ownerships, American ownerships. So it's gonna be ongoing. No more choreos as well. Ian just said as well. So the soul is being ripped out.
Yeah, it sucks. Like, just knowing that, for football fans like that, they are the extra man, Zio. They are the extra man when the backs are against the wall. You can win games because of your fans. You can score goals because of your fans. You can win trophies because of your fans.
Yeah, 100%. And now, Anthony, you're gonna have to do a little dance, because that's the challenge I put in the YouTube chat thing that allows
any particular genre, or any suggestions, or just whatever I can do.
Maybe do like a angry, expressive dance towards Ausilio and Marotta. Give us some expressive.
Imagine dancing angry. See, I wouldn't dance angry. How do you dance angry? Like, I wish I had like a pipe in my mouth. Like, it was just like,
yeah.
You're both of them with this stupid mafioso photo, just looking at me like, this guy, bro. And I'm just fuming. Why does every photo they take have to look like they've just like had a meeting with the Corleones? Like, exactly right, man. Look at it. I'm so cranky at these guys, man.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Max, for the donation. He says, no, we are first in season ticket sales. 40K sales. Jeez. They block tickets from people in Curva, but if you find a ticket in sale, it's no problem.
So we're still first after all this. Where's everybody else's media article?
So after all this, Anthony, this is the fan base, and Oak Tree are probably thinking like, because I've been saying on this channel, like, the fan base needs this, we need this, if you're gonna sell season ticket renewals. Actually, it turns out they don't need any of that, and they're looking at the books and they're like, "Whoa, this is good. We don't continue as you are, as you were."
I hope not. I hope not, man. Look, guys, I still think we've got something up our sleeve this market, and I think it's going to be good. I just think that if we scramble on the last 2 days, we can also fumble what we think is still going to happen, because that is what this manager has proven to me over the years. It's got nothing. I have no question that Beppe Marotta cannot get the job done to a certain extent, but there seems to be a little gap in between now and the way he used to be able to do things, which is very, very evident. It's just a simple lack of upfront funds, upfront liquidity. And it's killing us, bro. It killed us for Dybala. It killed us for Bremer. It's killed us this market. It's killed us last market. It's going to keep killing us, man. We are golden handshake FC. And that's the thing, like you mentioned, like the transfer market sort of becomes its own separate thing. It's sort of sub thing in the last 24 to 48 hours. Everybody will get desperate. Lookman will get desperate. Atletico could come back. Arsenal could come back. Any team could come in then and there. Once you enter the last 48 hours of the market, it is an absolute free-for-all. And there is no such thing as a verbal agreement. There's no such thing as a golden handshake. We have seen people go to the airport in a scarf and get intercepted by strangers who have shaken their hand and going, no, catch this flight instead. Malcolm from Roma to Barcelona. Look it up. It is still, to me, one of the most illegal moves in the transfer game, but the game is the game. And we're going to keep playing this game until the last 48 hours. And who knows, man, maybe Marotta will pull an ace so good that he takes a big W in this game and walks away like, yeah, bitches, one at a time. But I'm inclined to believe my guy, unfortunately, as a staunch Marotta fan over the years, that I think the ball's been dropped and I don't think he can close. And I think that we have failed this market. But I will say I don't trust Italians almost more than any race in the world, because I am Italian and I have dealt with them. And who knows that Marotta and Percassi aren't actual friends and aren't having coffees and aren't having cigars going, guys, we're doing this. We're just doing this the way we want. So everyone just calma. You guys play our game. We will decide when it happens. Because if it does happen, if the Lookman deal does happen, we will all know that we have been fleeced by these two gentlemen from day one. We would, if this does happen, forget every chop and change rumor of the last 6 to 7 weeks. This was agreed early July, and we've just all been playing the soap opera game until the credit is due.
Yeah.
The credit being the financial credit that is due.
Yeah, and so what we're just saying is this year we have a lot of money to spend. That's the thing. So there isn't any excuse for Ausilio this summer. That's the frustrating part, that this summer is the year that we finally could spend more than we bring in. And they've decided to be safe. They don't want to get rid of the Acerbi. They don't want to get rid of Mkhitaryan, and they just want to, they're happy to just continue with as things are. And that's the frustrating part. And Ausilio has also shown, when he had money before under Suning as well, when Suning first came in, the first few transfer windows, those were a disaster as well. As up until Marotta came in to maybe give him a guiding hand, lead from the top and tell him what to do, or move the strategy downwards from him, then Ausilio has done good work. I'm not going to deny that, because people give Marotta all the credit, but Ausilio is the one that is scouting the players. Marotta's not watching guys in the Bundesliga or the Belgian league. That's Ausilio doing all that work. Marotta is just the one that does the approvals at the end of the day. But it's time to move on, Enzo. We've had him for 15, 16 years, if I believe correctly. Like, he's in the back room. Like, at some point, you have to have fresh ideas.
He's had some good seasons, man. Don't get me wrong. And I would say I agree with you for the most part that he does a lot of the legwork. But at the end of the day, I know I scream a lot on my channel, but I say that Ausilio does not have the pull and the stature in a country like Italy the way Beppe Marotta does, which is why he never would have been able to step up to the table to do some of the deals that he was able to do. Like a lot of the time when I saw him photographed after deals for, say, Christian Eriksen, I'm like, dude, the only reason you're even in that photo is because you're being sent by Big Papa Beppe going, oi, you go there, do that right now. You're in the game with the big boys now. Prior to Marotta, I would say, like, you can credit him for the signings that he publicly said he was very happy with, which is, the Croatian duo of Kovacic and Brozovic. These two stand out amongst everybody else. And I think he takes a fair bit of credit for the Onana one as well. Maybe the Dumfries one, but I'm not too sure. But other than those, I'll remember him for being there for all the wrong times, the right times. I'm talking about him like he's gone already because the deal to Al Hilal stinks.
That is real stinky, man.
It's almost too obvious. I'm like, are you guys serious? You're not even trying anymore to pull it over our eyes. This is, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think the big frustration with Ausilio is the selling part, as Ian says. Like, it's like we just can't we can't sell to save our lives. Like, it's like pulling teeth when we're selling. Like, when we're buying, it's like weeks of negotiation. When we're selling, it's weeks of negotiation, and then we end up underselling the player for their value. And you look at across the pond, across the river, across the Navigli, Milan, Iglitare has just come in, and he's managed to get rid of Malik Thiaw for 40 million, even though they were selling him for 25 a few weeks before. Noah Okafor, who was literally being called fat and overweight by Napoli fans on loan last season, has been sold for 20 plus million euros. Reinders, okay, he undersold, but like you can see all these deals that are moving the needle for Milan, whereas we just struggle. I mean, Aslani is the perfect example right now. The guy is now started from a valuation of 17, 18 million euros for Inter, and the latest I've seen in negotiation with Bologna is 9 million plus a heavy resale value. And apparently he's rejecting that deal. I mean, we can get into that as well, of like Aslani being a pain in the culo.
How are we getting less for him than we paid for when he's supposed to be just hitting his peak years? He's got a Scudetto under his belt. He's got 2 Coppa Italia, 2 Supercoppa, 2 Champions League finals, and we're selling him for, we bought him for what, 13, 12 and a half, 13, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And we're selling for 9. So we're going to sell him for approximately 30% less than we bought him for. This is really, really disturbing when you break it down like this. It's just because it's Aslani that we're not losing our shit. This is really bad dealing.
Because, he starts for Albania, and he plays well for Albania. And the Euros, I remember he had a very good Euros for Albania, 30 plus caps for the national team. And he plays often, as much as people hate it. He does play often for Inter. Even
doesn't this reek of a player that's going to end up captaining Albania and move to the Premier League for 30 million from his next club, and then people are going to be talking about Aslani?
Well, that's the thing. We need the Premier League teams to come in. That's the difference between what Milan are selling to Premier League. So we need. That's maybe Ausilio's weakness. Like, he needs to get more Premier League contacts. I don't know, somehow.
He's got nothing.
Yeah, Stanislav, this is why we chose to start doing the show regularly. You know, there will be people that are leaning towards my style of things, but I feel like at the moment we're pretty much in the same boat, me and Anthony. We're both pretty, disappointed and cranky with the Inter ownership. So at the moment, we're pretty much brothers in all ways, in all opinions and everything. But I'm sure as the season goes on, we'll deviate towards my edging towards positivity and Anthony being the Jinx Master Supreme. Just going to the for Inter Extra, thinking it's a transfer, but it's Pavard changing his kit number. Let's have a look. Oh, so it's official. Benji Pavard chooses the number 5. Wow. What number was he
did he seriously?
Yeah.
Did someone vacate it?
Number 5.
Or has it been sitting there for a while?
I think it was just empty, no?
Who the hell was the last number 5?
I mean, is this, I don't know, Benji Pavard is a big topic as well to cover, of these guys that we're not sure are fully committed to Inter or not.
It was Stefano Sensi, that's why.
Wow, I would not have touched that number then.
Oh, he would have, no, because he didn't wear 5 when he first came here though. He was wearing 12, wasn't he? I know he was wearing 12. I know he was
Pavard.
wearing 12. No, Stefano
Oh,
Sensi.
Sensi. Oh yeah, I feel like I remember the 12. I don't remember the number 5.
No, I remember the 5. I think he scored the goal against like Empoli or Parma in the Coppa Italia in the number 5 jersey when we went into extra
No, it's
time.
always 12. It's always 12.
It was always 12.
Yeah.
He got the number 5 shirt in 23-24.
Oh, maybe it was
season.
like
Okay, so he didn't play a single.
yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And before that, it was Felipe Melo, and then Juan Jesus.
Oh wow, it's
before
it's a
Decky.
big
So
it's a big legacy that Benji's carrying.
apart from Decky, from 05 to 2012, but apart from Decky, then yeah, there's no real pressure here, Benji. No real pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Marquez. You people that follow me on this channel know that I like Aslani, but I don't think he's inter-level, but I do like him. I feel like he could be, a Samuele Ricci level player in Serie A. But yeah, that's why we're saying it's weird how we're not able to get any value out of him. But it's also Aslani's fault because he said he doesn't want to move away from Italy. So we are gonna get peanuts in Italy if he wants to stay close to his mum. But Pavard, where do you stand on Pavard, bro? I feel like now it's too late to make any moves at the back. I'd rather just keep him. It's a World Cup year. I'm sure he's going to be motivated to do his best to get into the World Cup squad.
Yeah, for sure. Before we get to that, you know how people have some sort of trauma where they just push it to the back of their head so that they forget about things?
Yeah.
That's what you and I just did with Gagliardini, number 5.
Oh, my God.
Both of us, not just me, both of us.
That was literally, there's like a blank in our minds that it was there, but we just walked past that door. And Nick Snox is in the house as well, so he's probably screaming there, "Don't disrespect Lord Gallia."
Badly. Pavard came out recently saying he wants to keep playing for the national team. Did he retire from the national team at all, or no?
No, he's just become second fiddle to what's his face, the Barca right back, Kunde,
that's right. So if he thinks he can make that squad again, good luck to him. But he's well over the hill to try and make a France squad that's trying to go to the World Cup looking fit. Like, dude, 2018 was a long time ago. We all remember that goal, but that was a long time ago, my guy. And I really don't think you're getting back into that French squad. More
and
power
he says he wants
to
to play centre back, right? But I think he's not going to get in ahead of the centre backs in that squad.
No, I doubt it. But if he wants, we need a bigger season from Benji. And if we won the Scudetto last season, because I'm all for doing big clear outs all the time. But had we won the Scudetto last season, I'd be saying now's a good time to cut ties with people that probably can't give us anything else. And Benji would have been one of them. But now that we're chasing something that he's won many times before, a league title, a trophy, he's a seasoned winner. We really could use an extended version of Benji Pavard this season to get us back into that winning frame, getting us winning trophies, getting us over the line again. I'm all for Pavard staying because it doesn't look like we're going to be able to negotiate our way into a great centre-back situation this season. A great centre-back situation this season would have been getting Leone, maybe getting a Cherby off the books primarily due to his age, and really integrating Bisek as a more regular centre-back, central centre-back, and right centre-back starter in the side. Apart from Leone, I always did think that De Vinter was a good opportunity, but you miss opportunities all the time. I wasn't going to lose sleep over that player in general. I just think it's disappointing that we didn't have too many other targets to go for. While I'm very, very happy with Soler, the player, I was a big fan of him last season. It goes without saying, you hang a big grey cloud over anybody going through any legal issue. This is, of course, the most sensitive sort of legal issue that you can discuss from a male perspective. I'm happy. I'm more than happy to admit that on camera or anything, man. You might as well come out and say it. But having a sexual allegation placed against you is extremely serious stuff, and no club, no business in general would want to commit to something like that. But if he is innocent and if things are proven innocent, then by all means, I'd be happy to make a play for him as a professional footballer, because he is very good as a centre-back for his age in Serie A, and he's showed me in Udinese that he's bloody good at what he does.
Yeah, I used to like him at Salzburg as well, more than Pavlovic. So it's been a while that we've been tracking him. But I think, where do you stand on this, Anthony? I feel like the fan base is almost like we're just like with the Leone thing. I don't think Leone was coming in and starting over Cherby or De Vrij. I feel like we just want to make that signing for the sake of making a sign. Like, we need a younger centre back. Like, people
Definitely.
say, oh, it's going to sign Coppola, they could have signed Gilardi, these young centre backs. But I feel like, yeah, we should make that signing for like long term. But I don't think they would have made much of an impact this season, in my opinion.
No, you're probably right. And I just think that fans wanted, like I said at the start of this show, like fans just wanted something special. Fans have wanted something special this season. And Leone it probably looks like that next Bastoni / Calafiori, that's something special to come out of central defense in Italy. So it would have been nice to get that guy. But I agree with what you say. It's an unrealistic expectation for a club like Inter at the moment.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have started games. We're still probably going to be looking at Acerbi and De Vrij at that central centre back role. I foresee a bad season for Acerbi fitness-wise. You know, a player like that at his age mentally last season, he gave everything, man. He gave absolutely everything. I don't blame him for not being motivated. Wouldn't you drop a little bit of motivation after losing 4 out of 4 trophies at 37 years old? You score the goal in the semi-finals against Barcelona that claws you back, and then you get ripped like that. And then your manager leaves the club, and your manager's like 4 years older than you. You're like, shit, I'm done, cuz. I'm so close to done. It's done. I commend him for fighting. He's a true warrior. The guy's beaten terminal illness before, and he will put 100% in for us, and I credit him for that. But the fight is done with Acerbi for me and Inter. And for that too, the fight is done with Darmian. It's done with Mkhitaryan. It's done with a few players, but we're not in a position of luxury where we can be expendable on these gentlemen, can we?
Mm-hmm. Well, how long do you have, by the way? I know you, conscious of your time, you said 45 minutes. We're on 45 minutes.
No, we can keep going for about another 10, 15
right.
if you need to. Yeah.
Yeah. Zeki asked this question a couple of times, so let me just get to this quickly. Bachin is basically Ausilio's right-hand man, or his understudy at the moment. So yeah, if Ausilio leaves, you could say that it's not really fresh ideas. It's just the guy that was working under him. He's the guy that usually is flying out to South America to do the scouting, you know, in real life, you know, with his the real eye test in real life. So none of us are really familiar in terms of who he really, you know, is choosing and stuff like that. But was he the guy behind Thomas Palacios? Probably. But, you know, for every Palacios, I'm sure there's also some positives. But yeah, basically that's Dario Bachin. Do you have any comments on that? If he's going to be the Ausilio replacement, Anto?
No, I think I'm gonna wait. I think I'm gonna wait until the news about Ausilio actually comes out, for us to discuss what his replacement will look like. Because if it is Bachin, we do need to ask questions, not necessarily of his ability, but once again of Oak Tree and the model and, you know, what's going on. I do think that there should be a couple of directors in Serie A in Italy that would jump at the idea of having Ausilio's job. Would you be able to name any of them, or would you know?
Well, I mean, I know people are going to say Sartori straight away, the Bologna one, who was the Atalanta guy. But one thing people, I feel like, don't take into account is that he's buying players for the level of Atalanta, Bologna, players that have very low pressure. They can come in, have, you know, play with the youth, and, you know, they can make mistakes. Buying players for Inter is a completely different ball game. So you could bring in someone like Sartori, who's known for his great scouting and great use of analytics and all that kind of stuff. But it's a different ball game buying for Inter. The other name that comes to mind is the Sassuolo guy, Carnevali. He's very good at selling. So if we want to start being able to sell, Sassuolo, he scammed all teams around the world in Serie A. So you could bring him.
He's worked with Marotta. Hasn't he worked with Marotta before?
They're supposed to be good friends, yeah. They're supposed to be very good friends off the pitch. I'm not sure if he's worked with Marotta, but they're known to be good friends off the pitch, so that could work. But again, that gives you the even more mafia vibes if those two
big time
together.
Big time, bro. Well, I guess we'll just wait. We'll just have to wait to see what happens with good old Piero. Who knows? It might all be bullshit, and he might be sticking around. The season does start in a very short amount of time, 3 days now. But in terms of the market closing, you know, how does that work exactly? Do directors participate in the same market period as players? I don't think I've ever gone down the route of transfer markets for directors.
Until that Ausilio news said that he has to complete the transfer window until he can move. I didn't even know that was a thing. So
And who governs the transfers of directors? Do they have their own directors?
yeah, the director of directors.
Far out.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see if that comes to it. But the thing is, it does. It's like, there's plenty of like when people say like, oh, if we sell this guy, who we're going to replace? Same with directors. There's plenty of talented people out there, guys. There's people out there that are hungry, that know their stuff, that are wanting a chance. Ausilio was one of those guys back in the day when we promoted him from, many different jobs that he had at Inter. Like, there's loads of people out there that could do the job. It's just about Inter, identifying the right profile. And yeah, going back to the centre back comments, Anthony, these are the types of names that move the needle, like guys that are going to displace De Vrij and Acerbi. Obviously, much more expensive, much higher salaries, older as well, not the younger profiles that Inter fans maybe want. But the Kim Min Jaes, the Gueis, the Upameccanos of this world, those are the kind of guys that move the needle immediately.
I would be staying as far away from Upamecano as possible. Like, only just because, I don't care how good you are. There's only a certain amount of brain farts that you can make on the world stage before it just gives you performance anxiety. It's just human nature. I've heard that Gueye has been like very heavily linked to Liverpool. And if that's true, then I think that'll happen because they're still crying out, even though they've got Leone, don't be fooled. They're not going to be starting him every game. That guy is going to be a Carling Cup merchant. That's for sure. And he'll start those games along with Federico Chiesa. I might just go and see what it's paying on a multi if they end up in the starting lineup together for one of them or both of them to grab a goal. That would be hilarious. So I think they'll get Gueye because, if they're smart and forward thinking, which Liverpool are, they're one of the most forward thinking clubs in the world. They'll know that Virgil van Dijk is, one good season away from now being a liability on the pitch, both physically and, mentally as it comes with age. He's one of the best centre backs I've seen in the modern era, but, let's not get it twisted. Age does defy you in this sport. And his time's coming to an end, so I think they'll get him. I like that comment about us getting Vega because I'm as petty as it gets as an Inter fan. So yeah,
I knew it.
Yeah. Like, that's the only reason why. Like, I live for that shit. You know me. Like, inject that into my veins. I'll get a jersey, bro.
Yeah, that's an instant jersey buy if we get that guy. I never get named at the back of my shirt, but that's an instant shirt purchase. I couldn't do the Cuadrado one. That one I couldn't do.
No. We gave him the number 7, didn't we?
Oh yeah, he took the number 7.
Beppe can do some bummy shit. I bet he laughed about it behind the scenes.
Bro, that guy's at Pisa this year. That's like so random.
Is he at Pisa?
Yeah.
No way. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Bro, have you seen the fucking colors of their jersey? It's the same as Atalanta and Inter.
Copy and paste.
Nah, I didn't. You're being serious, aren't you?
Yeah, because I made a video. I was doing a video the other day grading transfer markets, and he was on the Pisa's list.
I didn't
free transfer.
Bro, you are right. That's bizarre.
He's the star signing.
He is their star signing, bro. There's photos of him doing the thumbs up in front of the tower.
Well, newly promoted teams in the Premier League are buying Granit Xhaka. Newly promoted teams in Serie A are buying Cuadrado.
This guy copped himself another Serie A contract, and he did it in the same colors as the past two seasons.
Yeah.
You know what, bro? Some people just need to get their flowers, bro. I respect him. I've always respected him.
Yeah, he loves the Nerazzurri. He loves this.
There's a certain way, like way you go about your life when you just look at it and go, well, you're clearly very happy with who you are as a human being and what's going on. So I can't judge you.
Yeah, but going back to Max's comment, like, yeah, every day new names come out, Max. Let's just there's not long left to the window now, about 11, 12 days. Vega and Cisa, the new names. Yeah, let's see what happens. I don't think, personally, I don't think either of those are coming. But let's see what we cook up by the end of the window. But I'll still make videos on it, obviously, but I'm not going to be like, I think this is what's happening now. It's just going to be covering the news with you guys. Konate on a free. I mean, that's the type of, big pull that I was hoping we would try to make with Marotta at the helm. But as Anthony said, that time is probably over now.
Anymore. Not happening anymore, man. That's just not going to happen anymore.
Yeah. And the last thing I wanted to cover with you, Anthony, the 3-4-2-1 dream is over, right? With Zalewski going, and now if we are out of the Ademola Lookman deal, that means that this 3-4-2-1 is over, because there's no point playing it with Boni and Thuram there. Like, you could do it like, as an emergency in a game, you're chasing the game, but as in, like, realistically, it's not really a formation to be playing regularly with Zalewski out and no Lookman. It's another season of 3-5-2, right? 2 up top.
2 up top, bro. Kivu is going to have to play conservative, because if you implement all these drastic ideas too soon, the fans will turn on you instantly as soon as the results drop. So it makes sense from a Kivu perspective to keep the Inzaghi blueprint, even just for a little bit. I think with the right targets and the right players, I think Kivu would have had that little bit more confidence. But looking at it right now, like you said at the start of the video, it actually does look like we're going into next season with virtually the same starting lineup that got their asses served to them raw 5-0 by Paris in the Champions League final. So, yeah, I have absolutely no doubt that DiMarco and Dumfries will be expected to put in major shifts. Lautaro and Thuram will be the go-aheads. I'm very excited about the fact that Arnautovic Correa is now Boni Esposito. That's fantastic. The depth move is great. I want to see Sucic as much as possible in midfield in replace for Mkhitaryan. We need to see a reborn Fratesi in some sort of role. Formations are formations, but we've both played the game. We've coached the game. We've known the game our whole lives. Formations can be adapted. Styles of play can be different in different formations. That's just common sense. We're not going to be the same looking Inter as we were under Inzaghi, but there aren't going to be any drastic changes straight away unless you see any drastic changes in the squad. Lookman's the only one that can really change it from a tactical perspective, unless you do bring in, Courtney from Roma. That would still change it to a perspective. Have a much more defensive drill-like mentality where you could push the bottom forward a little bit more, just be a little bit more aggressive. But I know, my goodness, would it relieve some desperate amount of time for Nico Barella to get rest as well. But our squad's going to be burnt out again, man. I think our squad's going to be burnt out again. Oh, no, we're not taking Rabiot.
If they pick and choose their fights, they won't be. Because last year, that was one of the mistakes from Inzaghi, is like, or the team. They just wanted this Champions League final so bad again, but they just don't have the squad to do it. So if they pick and choose their fights,
that's what I mean.
Forget about the Coppa Italia. Just, like Conte does, just burn out the Coppa Italia as soon as possible. Then they can just have more space and time to rest.
That's it, man. Show half as much fight for the Scudetto as you did for the Champions League last year, and we just might take it home.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, shout out to Simi and the Inter Extra boys as well. Make sure you check them out. But yeah, Anthony, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Leave us with, we're not going to do the prediction. I know Max asked us about prediction. I think we need to wait for the end of Mercato to, realistically do predictions, not just for Inter, for all Serie A teams, because they're all going to wait literally to the last few days to get all their business done. But give us like your prediction in terms of signing. Are Inter going to make that one big signing before the end of the window, which I'm talking about someone 30 million plus coming in? Yes or no?
I want to say yes. Like, trust me, I actually want to be optimistic in this situation because, like I said, I think Marotta's got something up his sleeve. Is he really going to be made to look like this much of a loser if we don't bring anybody else in? It just doesn't strike me as his style. I'll probably be wrong, but you know what? For argument's sake, I'll go against the grain. It's our first episode of 2 Up Top, and I'm going to go, yeah, I think we do make a major signing. I think we do make a signing that the fans sit back and go, you know what? That's a nice way to end the market. Whether it's a really good signing at centre back, midfield, or it's Lookman, I think that we still can try, man. I'm going to be optimistic and say, yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. It's like they have to, right? Like you can't just do nothing now. Like you need to push this team and you have the money to do it. Because you might regret it. Like next summer, it won't be the same because you might not have the same revenues as we did this year. And you won't have the Correas and Arnautovic is leaving the budget to give you the space to play with. So this is the extra summer to do it. So you need to do it.
If we can get Taremi off the books as well, it's massive cap saved from last season. It's almost embarrassing that you don't invest it. It really is. It really is.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Anto as well. I think in the end, something will happen. It might be like a desperate thing where we might not even need him. It might be like a luxury signing. But I think they will end up doing something, surely, because as I said, it just makes sense. Because next summer you might not get the chance to do it financially. You don't know what your revenues are going to be next year. So that's that for the first episode of 2 Up Top. Next episode will be on Interworld Wide's channel, so make sure you subscribe on the other side. So we're going to try switch. So one episode on my channel, and then next episode on Interworld Wide, and vice versa. Any parting comments, Anto, my bro?
No, just thank you to everybody that joined the stream. We were wanting to do this for a while, and I'm glad that we've got it underway. One thing's for sure, we will never ever run out of things to talk about with this club. So looking forward to many more episodes, bro. It was an absolute pleasure. Big up the chat.
Thank you. Thank you to all the people in the chat. Thank you to the channel members, and thank you to Max for his 2 donations. Very, very much appreciated, brother. And good luck in San Siro. Bring us good luck next week on Monday. The kickoff is getting closer and closer, so look out on the channel for my match preview, Anthony's as well, on videos that are coming up. So keep a lookout. I know things are not looking great at the moment, but hopefully things, once the season, at least let's start talking about football now. Let's start,
Yes, very true.
Window. Yeah, hopefully football can save us. Ciao ragazzi, always, Forza Inter.